How's it going, everybody? Today we are excited to be on another podcast, Performance. And today we have internet famous sensation. Is that right, Jonathan?
If you say so.
Just joking. AI expert Jonathan Boshoff. And today we're going to be talking a lot about what's going on in the AI world. Jonathan's been an SEO guy for a long time, but using AI to supplement and integrate that into the world. And today we're going to be kind of discussing what's going on in that world, what's happening. So, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks for having me on the podcast, John.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. Let's just jump straight into it. What are you seeing in AI? What's piquing your fancy?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in AI, especially with the SEO world. The crazy thing that I can't wrap my head around is how many new tools are created every day, like new softwares, new platforms. You could have a full-time job just trying them out. So I'm
Yes.
always trying to figure out what's new and exciting in the AI SEO world, but realistically, I don't really have time to try every single thing. And I usually end up just building my own stuff.
Okay. Um, Basically, it looks like you got into this world in 2012. How have you seen it change? This SEO, the landscape changed since 2012, and digital marketing in general.
Yeah, AI is definitely probably one of the craziest things to happen to digital marketing, if not the craziest thing. And in the SEO world, the thing that has really changed since like the chat GPT era and things became really popular is the massive increase in spammy AI generated content. So for a while, everybody was just, prompting ChatGPT, like, make me a blog post about fishing
Mhm.
or something. And then they would just go post that. And
Yep.
it worked for a minute, but, a couple years later,
Yeah,
I
it
think it
did. It
started
worked for
Google.
a hot second.
Yeah, Google was quick to fix it, and it's not working too great anymore. Like, you can't just generate random blogs and expect to rank and get traffic. So it's a little trickier
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. What are huge mistakes that you're seeing people do with AI right now?
Yeah,
Sure, you're saying it left and right. I mean, that's one of them, just putting it into Chat GPT. What are some of the other stupid things that people are doing?
that's the pillar of it. So, and there's a lot of like subsections of that. Big one is the publishing frequency going way out of whack. So people going from their normal cadence of like putting out one piece of content a week, which was working, and then all of a sudden they're doing like 80 pieces per week just because they can. And Google does not
Mm.
know what to do with all that new content. Number
Yep.
two, no internal links. So that's an important thing. Like Google needs the internal links to figure out how content relates to each other. And if you're
Yep.
making hundreds or thousands of AI generated pages, it becomes very tricky to get those linked up nicely. So that's another huge mistake people make. And then another big one
Yeah.
is not updating the content. So if you have a small marketing team, a small content team, and suddenly you've produced thousands of pages, there's no way that you can keep all of those pages up to date. And content on Google has a shelf life. So if you
Yeah.
can't keep it all up and up to date, it's going to just disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you bring up the internal linking. We have noticed there's a lot of sites out there and they'll have like 1,000 blog posts and not one of them is internally linked. Or it's all the same keyword, and you could tell they're just dynamically doing it across their entire site with like some stupid plugin. Um, it's interesting. Have you found any good tools that help with that?
For internal linking, I've actually built my
Yeah.
own. So I made a Python script that, and I'm not a very good like coder. I actually just use like ChatGPT and stuff to help me make these scripts. Um,
Yeah.
but it recommends internal links by searching Google using like site operators, and it finds like
Okay.
relevant pages based on like your query that you're entering. And It can even check, like it checks the page to see if it already links, and then if it doesn't,
Yeah.
it recommends it as a link.
Okay. And is that internal and external or just internal?
Mostly for internal links. So like if you had a new
Okay.
piece of content, you want to figure out what other pages can I link to it. That's an easy way to do it. And it's a very similar way to how people build internal links without AI or automations. It's just kind of like automating the process that everybody was familiar with.
Yeah. And then as you're doing that, are you like running this on every page or is it dynamically doing it? Or tell me a little bit about it.
I run it per page, so I don't trust anything to actually go and edit the links for me. There's tools
Hmm.
that do that, and it often just messes stuff up, and you have to go back and fix
Breaks.
it
It
later.
screws up. I haven't found one that's good.
Yeah, so I've kind of settled with like that's as good as it's going to get for now. Just tell me where to link it, what kind of anchor text should I use, maybe give me the placement on the page, and I'll actually do the work of adding the links or pass it along to somebody else to add the links.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. It's a fun landscape out there. It's really weird um, with the advancements of AI that there isn't a better internal linking tool out
Yeah.
there. Um, like, as we're automating things, how do you strike that balance between AI automation and real creativity? Because I'm finding that Google ranks a lot better the real human, where it can tell that it's a real human, and that gets 1,000 times more ranking than something that isn't. But how do you strike that balance?
Yeah, that is a good question because it's really tricky. And probably more often than not, people are more on the AI side than the human side just because it's so easy. Um, but the best way to do it is to have a lot of human oversight in the process. Like you can use AI to make your content outline. It could scrape pages, give you all kinds of really juicy details of what other sites are using and how they're ranking. Um, you can use it to make the first draft of content, maybe even help you find like statistics or stats or quotes, things to pull in. But ultimately, the best way to make content afterwards is to just get a human and edit that content and give it that like human
Yeah,
touch because AI isn't quite there yet. It can't completely replicate what a human editor or writer can accomplish. It can only
yeah,
speed up little pieces of the process.
yeah. What do you recommend though to sites that have 100,000 pages though? It's a little, the human element to that is near impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have 100,000 pages, the human element, it's not really replicable. I mean, like you can fake it, like you can make an AI write in first person, but then you're kind of just being misleading. Um, if you have 100,000 pages, it might be better to take kind of like a more programmatic approach where you can like
Yeah.
pull in your own proprietary data, and then it's not so much about like how artisanal the content is, it's more about how useful it is.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. We have a blog. I believe it has like 42,000 written pages. And these are all like real human written pages. They're not like AI, they're not this. We've had editorial staff on for 15 years of doing this. So it's been going on, and it's a very, very daunting task going after these and updating them and keeping them up. Even so much as like updating images to be, back in the day, 20, 15 years ago, the image size was like a 300 by 300, and that was like the best recommendation. Now it's, I mean, I don't even know what it is. Say 2,000 by 1,500, and in 5 years it's going to be three times that. So, how do you recommend keeping up with little changes like that with such a large, massive site?
Yeah, the best way is just prioritization. So you have to get, like, the bigger the site is, the stronger your prioritization system has to be. If you're just blanket
Yeah.
updating, like, let's update all 40,000 pages with
Yeah.
better images, like you're going to be at that all year. Like you'll need multiple full-time people just to do that. But if you look at the pages that are getting the most traffic or performing the best, driving the most conversions or something like that, those are definitely the ones to prioritize. Because I mean, if you have 42,000 pages, there's probably thousands that don't even get traffic anymore.
Correct. Yeah. Yep, there are. Okay. Now switching directions a little bit, what is your favorite AI tool? You have to use it every single day.
Yeah, right now it's probably Moonlit platform. I love it because it's like,
Moonlit.
yeah, it's a drag and drop, like no code editor. There's other tools out there like it. That's just the one that I've ended up using. Um, but I started out by like making those like Python scripts and web apps. And then with Moonlit, I didn't have to worry about the actual code of it and making sure that there's no like comma where it shouldn't be and things like that. I can just like come up with an idea like, oh, I'm going to make something that recommends like EEAT improvements, and then I can just go make it.
Yep. Okay. How about your second favorite? Let's go to like top three here. What are your top three?
Second favorite right now is make.com. So that's like an automation platform, but you can integrate AI with it. So like you can have a step where it uses ChatGPT or something, and then
Mm-hmm.
it posts it to your blog or posts it to Twitter or anything like that. So pretty much any kind of automation sequence you can think of, you can build it with Make. And I'm pretty new to Make. I'm just starting to learn it, but I'm like, oh, this is awesome. There's a lot I can
You're
do with it.
in.
Yeah.
You're in. Sweet. Love it. And number three.
Number three, pretty boring, but probably just ChatGPT. I use it every day for all kinds of things. I build GPTs. It helps me with like Python, math, and just answering the random questions of life that I have.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now, as you're using all these tools, give me a hack that nobody else really does in the SEO world that's working right now that you don't think is going to be smacked down, but is severely helping you right now. Give me a hack. Maybe nobody's heard of it, maybe a couple people. What is working for you that's your hack to success?
Sure, I'll give you a really specific one. If you're in the e-commerce space, like you got a big e-commerce site, and let's say you've
Mm-hmm.
got tons of category pages, the the content on those category pages, like at the very bottom, it's mostly just for Google. Like people aren't really reading down there and being like, "Oh, this is some great content. I'm having a great time reading this." It's largely just to help the page be associated with different like search queries. So it's really easy to use AI to create well optimized text for those category pages. And I've done this multiple times where I just update all of the category pages and I'll use like uh, GPT on Google Sheets so I can do it really quickly at scale. Just generate some
Mm-hmm.
like nice text, SEO optimized for all the category pages, bulk upload them, and then you see traffic pretty much shoot up right away.
Okay, I love it. Now, are you just running it through chat, or there any other tools that you're supplementing in there to make it a little more human, less AI?
You can use Claude if you want. Like it's a similar process. You can pull in the Claude API, and I find that that generates slightly better text. I do mostly just use OpenAI for that specific task. Um,
Okay.
but to improve it, you can pull in other factors. Like you could pull in the content of the page. You could scrape the page and list all the products in there, so that way it can make better recommendations. I usually have to do stuff like that, so I'll give it inputs like the title, the description, the page content, and then it's got enough information to do a decent job.
Yeah, love it. Now, as AI continues to change and evolve, a lot of people who are listening to this are, job seekers or looking to up their game. What skills are next for upping your game? What's crucial for the next generation of SEO or the next generation of content? What are those crucial skills that this person should start working on right now?
Yeah, that's great. It's I think it's a lot to do with strategy because the implementation and the execution is getting easier with AI. Like creating those outputs, and there's all kinds of automations, and in the future there's going to be better, more advanced AI technology, more streamlined automation. But at the end of the day, you need to be a good strategist to be able to kind of like orchestrate all of that well. So you still need good like foundations to have a good SEO strategy. And
Yeah.
AI and automation is just going to kind of amplify what you already know.
Yeah. Where do you go to learn?
I spend a lot of time on YouTube. That's that's how I learned most of like my SEO over the years. Just following a
Hmm.
couple of YouTubers that I really like and paid attention to. Um, the
Any shout outs you wanna give?
Yeah, I loved Brian Dean Backlinko. His videos were
Okay.
amazingly helpful over the years. Matt
Yeah.
Diggy, um, Kyle Roof, all those guys. Those were like the big ones
Lots
that I
of
like.
lots of OGs in the space. People
Oh
have been
yeah,
in it for a while.
yeah.
So it's fun. I know most of those guys. So very good people. Highly recommended. So,
But I've learned more just from like making my own little projects and trying things out
hmm
from for myself. That's more helpful than any kind of learning you can get from anybody else. Like the one
yeah.
thing you learn from trying your own little project is going to be so much more impactful than learning something from somebody else and just taking their word for it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I can't I actually wanted to bring that up. I'm glad you brought it up. So yeah, trying your own projects, you're gonna fail. And just know that going into this that you're going to fail, but next time fail better, then fail better, then fail better, and fail better every single time and keep trying stuff because you know things are going to happen along the way. You're going to eventually you're going to have a site de-indexed and you're going to be like, "Oh," and you're going to learn how to get it back and you're going to have all these things that like teach you to be a better professional. So
100% agree. Yeah. You got to learn the hard way.
uh yeah, exactly. Give me another innovative AI growth hacking technique that you have that's worked really, really well. We got the category pages. What else? What else is working? What's that tidbit that you haven't really shared with anybody?
Sure. So another one is updating title tags and meta descriptions. That's really easy to do for AI. Even if you're like against AI and you hate it and you think it's like ruining the
Hmm.
internet, nobody really wants to write meta descriptions anymore.
No.
Um, and if you can,
So walk me through the process on doing that. You're creating a spreadsheet. Do you put every single page and then have ChatGPT tell you what it is and then what it should be, or walk me through kind of step by step on how you're doing that?
sure. So easiest way to do it is to get like a screaming frog crawl of your site. Then you isolate all the
Yep.
pages that you want to work on. Maybe they're not performing. Maybe the title tags are too long or too short, something like that. Keywords not in there. Any kind of hit list that you want to improve. And then you pull in the page content. And you can also do that with Screaming Frog. It just requires a little bit of like configuration to get the page text in there. And then you've
Yep.
got everything you need. Like you got your old title, old meta description, you got the page text. If you want to get fancy with it, you can pull in stuff from the SERPs, like what are the top 3 title tags that are ranking. And then you feed that all into AI, like on GPT for Sheets. And I actually made a free
Hmm.
Python script because I don't want to pay for like a GPT for Sheets subscription if it's just a Python script I can make. Um,
Yeah.
and then you can run it through and you can kind of tweak the prompts a little until you get what you like, because every site is going to be a little bit different. Maybe you want it to mention certain things or stay away from certain things. So you do a couple like tests and then you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm really happy with the output here. Run it for all of your hit list and then you just got to upload it.
Sweet. I love it. Love it. Love it. It's great, great advice. What's a common mistake that you see people making when they're doing this?
For title tags and meta descriptions or just like AI in general?
AI in general.
Yeah, probably the biggest mistake everybody's making right now is just making kind of like crappy pages without putting a lot of thought into it
Yeah.
and publishing it. What we're seeing on Google is the more you do that, the more likely you are to get your site tanked in the next like algorithm update. and the people who kind of
Yeah.
like stayed the course are doing fine.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your biggest pet peeve
Biggest pet peeve
in this industry, not in general?
in the
So,
AI SEO industry is kind of like the assumption that that's all that AI is for right now. And that's
yeah.
primarily like why I started doing the things that I do and making all these different tools, is because even today, the majority of what people are using AI for is generating content, and
Yeah.
mostly generating kind of crappy content just because they haven't really learned all the
Yeah.
ins and outs of how this all works and all the things you can do with it. And I went out of my way to be like, okay, what else can we use AI for? This is a cool technology. There's got to be all kinds of use cases. So I kind of like went out of my way to come up with these use cases. And now I've created like AI tools that help with like internal linking, EEAT, content planning, making topical maps,
Mhm.
keyword research, like you name it. If it's like an SEO task that you've done in the past, I've probably made a tool that can do it or help you do it.
Yep. Love it. And just final pieces of advice as we're wrapping up. Um, where's this all headed? Where's the next 10 years? So I want you to wave your wand. 10 years out, where are we going to be?
That's a tough question because it moves so quickly and it changes so fast. That's really hard to predict where it's going. Um, but the thing that will definitely be for sure is that AI will be way smarter than it is today. And if you're not paying attention to it now, you're going to wish that you had and had kept up with it as it evolves. And so will
Yep.
automation. So like AI and automation, they're like the 1-2 combo. And the people who are learning these things, like let's use AI, let's use automation, those are going to be the people who are way ahead and succeeding in the future. Whereas people who kind of stayed away from it, like, oh no, this is bad for everything, I don't like this, and they kind of like went to go hide under a rock, those are the people who are going to be struggling in the future.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you one futuristic point of view that I have that I think is going to happen. I think Google is going to stop passing on people to websites, and they're going to load the websites or load it dynamically the exact content that you want in the search results, so you never leave Google ever. So those who are listening, I would put it out there, like try and optimize, pay attention to what results those, they're summarizing things at the very top right now. But I think they're going to start pulling in those summarizing summaries and start optimizing it in a website look like it's your website, and they never want you to leave Google ever, ever again. So if you can start predicting what they're doing and getting those summaries, I think people aren't really focused on the summaries and focused on getting the best information. I think in the next 5 years, they're going to really do that. And in 10 years, you will never leave Google again. Just like the shopping experience, you never leave Amazon. They have you like tacked to that. And Amazon's going to change. Amazon's going to, when you start hovering over things, it's going to start knowing exactly, they already know where you're going to go, but they know the next 3 products that you're going to buy, and they're going to put those in the experience for you because they know based on your search history in Google and this, and they're all going to start sharing data. So I think it's really important to understand the benefits of AI and how it can be the future for your business, and prepare by knowing how to do these things, updating title tags, updating descriptions, but also updating your website to be tagged appropriately to give the right responses that people are searching for, not just fluff content in the middle. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for being here today. How can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, the best way is to just follow me on LinkedIn, like just search my name, Jonathan Boshoff. Pretty easy to find. And you can also join my AI SEO Academy. It's free to join. And that's kind of where I'm putting all of the tools that I've built. So if you just want to see what I'm up to, what I'm creating, that's the place to go.
Love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, John.